Hello there, and welcome back to the pod. Thank you for joining us at the Real Podcaster of Alistry. So we're going to get straight into it. So today we have Craig on the pod couch with us. So I'm going to hand over to Craig and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, Lindsay. Thank you, first of all, for having me here.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's very modern, isn't it? Podcast.
It's all a bit new.
It is, especially with video. So my name's Craig Stephenson. I live in, I don't know where I live actually. Some people say I live in Alistry. Some people say I live in Corndon, but I'm on the new Miller Home site. So I think I'm actually just in Corndon.
Is that Kedleston Grange?
Yeah, that's right.
There, yeah.
Yes,
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not far from the little new roundabout that they put there. And things. So I live Alistry, Corndon. I live here with my wife and my two teenage boys. One who's just going through his GCSEs at the moment. The other one's going to go do mocks.
One of which, you guys can't see this, but one of which is with us today because he's on work experience. So we are actually joined by Harry, but he's in the background and you can't see him.
And he doesn't want to talk.
Which I'm sure he's actually really happy about because now he's looking at me thinking, oh my God, don't spin that camera around.
So that's me. And I'm 53 years of age and I'm a travel counsellor. I run a personal bespoke travel agency, as it were. Yeah.
Fantastic. So that actually leads into the next question. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What does that mean? What is it that you do?
Yeah, sure. So a travel counsellor is somebody who helps people book their holidays, essentially. It sounds very sort of, I don't know, people have to sort of lie down on the couch and confess about where they want to go and things like that. And
it's all very deep.
Yeah, I don't help out. I don't help out with marriage problems or anything like that and stuff. So it's just the name of the franchise. But essentially, I'm a self-employed person who has his own travel agency.
Yeah,
I work with a very personal set of customers. And the people that I work with are generally people that are looking for help and advice on where to go and how to book and how to do it. And obviously I help them with that journey and I do the booking as well. So in many ways, I'm sort of like a traditional travel agent in some ways, but I'm also a tour operator as well. But maybe I can explain that a little bit more later on as well. Yeah. So, but the most important thing is that I treat people's holidays as if they're my own.
Yeah.
I've been in the travel industry for a very, very long time. And I just like to make sure that when people come back from their holidays, they don't come back. My mother always says to me, when I say to her when she's been away, I say, how was your holiday? She said, oh, it's really good. It was good. I really enjoyed it, but I wouldn't go back. And I've always questioned that. It's like, why wouldn't you go back?
Yeah.
And is that because you chose the wrong place in the first place? So, I try to do my best to make sure that people come back and go, I'd love to go again.
Yeah.
But where else can I go?
Yeah.
I think that should be the I think that should be the line.
Yeah. So they come back thinking that was just fantastic. There's nothing of it I wouldn't change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing that should go wrong with a holiday is when you get back and you just want to be back there and you get those holiday blues.
Yeah.
If you're getting the holiday blues, you've had a great holiday.
Yeah. I get that all the time. And I have to have the next one in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So I've always got to have one coming up or booked.
Yeah, my wife's exactly the same.
It kind of helps not get you through because that's a bit dramatic, but I just like knowing that there's something in the distance to aim for and work towards.
Yeah, I think we all work very, very hard, whether that be at home or whether you're actually you're at work or whatever things. But life always has its challenges, and I think having that sort of little bit of ray of sunshine in the future to look forward to. It's an important part. It's what keeps us going in many respects.
Yeah.
And, holidays was something, I remember when I first started out in travel, holidays was a luxury. If you were going abroad, it was like, where are you going? And I think back in those days, certainly back in the 80s when I first went into the industry, it was, everywhere was kind of sort of exotic.
Yeah.
You remember the programs such as Wish You Were Here and BBC's Holiday and things, and every week we'd be glued to it. And those halcyon days, really. But yeah, it's important that we have something to look forward to.
Yeah, and you've been in the industry a long time then.
Yes.
What was your journey getting into that then?
Well, it started off, my journey into travel actually started off with a real tragedy, actually. I was doing A-levels, but I'd already spoken to the RAF about going into the forces.
Oh, wow.
And they had said to me, we'd love to sign you up. I did all the sort of different tests, but they said, we think that you've got the aptitude to go in at an officer level. Right. So we want you to stay on and do your A-levels and go in. So I think I had a signing on date as well, if I remember rightly. It's a long time ago now. But I was coming back on the M62 from a rugby game, and unfortunately somebody came into the back of our car, and I lost the top part of my left leg. I was in hospital for over a month on traction and things like that and stuff.
Oh
yeah,
my
I was on a
gosh.
walking stick I was on crutches for a year and a walking stick for 4 years, and then ultimately I had a hip replacement. I was actually one of the youngest people to actually have a hip replacement at that time.
Oh my word.
So I woke up a month later after that really sort of wondering what I wanted to do in my life, because I couldn't go in the RAF then.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go back to school because I'd missed too much. So I went to a careers show at my school, and I got talking to a really nice young lady who was working in a travel agency, and I went and I actually offered to go in and work completely free of charge, and she went and asked her boss, and they said yeah, fine, and that led me to getting onto a diploma course for 2 years to study travel, which I did, and then I started working as a travel agent. I did that for 2 or 3 years, then I went traveling around the world, backpacking.
Wow.
Still on my walking stick. And then after my hip replacement, I just had really itchy feet as a kid. My dream, and we were talking just before we started about dreams as a kid, but my only dream was I just wanted to see the world.
Wow.
And the really horrible thing is I still want to see the world. I still haven't seen enough of it. I still want to do more.
Well, it's a big place.
Yeah, so I then went overseas and started working as a holiday rep, and then moved from there. So yeah, I've been in the industry since 1988.
Wow, so you've literally seen it all.
About 15 years now.
Yeah, not long then, not long. So you've seen it all. You've gone from doing a bit of work, then finding out you want to try holiday repping, which is not for the faint-hearted, let's face it.
No, I mean, that was a real steep learning curve, because, that was 93, 94, and I did a little bit later on in the 90s as well. But back in those days, obviously we didn't have mobile phones or the internet or anything like that. So, we were really at our own devices. We got there and it was pretty much, these are your properties. These are the excursions that we need to put together. Not for you to sell. You need to go and put them together.
Oh, wow.
I think the first thing I had to do was I had to arrange a Greek night. So I had to just walk around the old town in Malia looking for restaurants to organise. Yeah, it was like, I was just, I was wet behind the ears and things. It was a real steep learning curve. And yeah, I saw quite a lot of interesting things during that time as well. Yeah.
How long did you rep for?
I did 2 years initially, and I worked in Crete for 2 summers, and I did Gran Canaria for 1 winter, and I did Benidorm for 1 winter as well.
Wow.
And then I went back and did a little bit more at the back end of the 90s, where I actually was working actually more in the entertainment side of things as well. So,
wow.
Which,
so you really have done it all in terms of travel.
Yeah. And I worked in Ibiza and Cyprus then. So
wow.
But it was all about seeing the world. It was all about experiencing different cultures.
Yeah.
And seeing different places. I mean, people say to me, I'd like to go to this place around the world. I'd love to go and see, Uluru. Some of us will know that as Ayers Rock in Australia. I want to see this, but there are some incredible places not far from us.
Yeah.
I mean, people go to, Cyprus, say for instance, and they'll go and they'll sit on a beach for 2 weeks, which is absolutely fine. But if you go to Cyprus and you don't go to Nicosia, the capital, which is basically a capital separated in the middle with two countries, Greek Cypriots, and then you've got the Turks on the other side. And it's one of the most fascinating cities you can go to, because it's literally got some sort of UN exclusion zone right through the middle. You can see all the bullet marks behind where they had the sort of the civil war there and things. It's a fascinating place to go, and all these places are actually on our doorstep.
Yeah. But that is the thing, and I'm really guilty for this.
Yeah.
Booking a holiday somewhere gorgeous, going, and then staying on my sun lounger by the pool, and then coming home.
But that's your prerogative.
And don't get me wrong, I have the best time ever. But then I think, but I could do that anywhere. Like, why have I chosen here or there? I could have just nipped over to Spain and done it there, sort of thing. So I completely get that. Like, it is a shame to not go and see more and learn more about the actual country that you're visiting or the place that you're visiting. And that is something I've thought to myself actually before. You're not doing yourself or the place you're going any justice.
Yeah, but I think, again, it's your prerogative to do that. And I think that kind of comes back to actually one of the reasons why I do the role that I do, and why my role does actually exist still. Because, a lot of people do go online and book, their holidays themselves and things. But it's a minefield. You don't really, and what I do is I sit and actually work with people and say to them, what is it that you actually want from your holiday?
Yeah.
Because, it's important that we get those ingredients right.
Yeah.
If all you want to do is go and sit on a sun lounger on a really nice beach, and do nothing else apart from sip the odd cocktail or two, then you could really question the fact of why you flying to the other side of the world to do that.
Exactly.
And there might be good reason. The Maldives are spectacular. They're beautiful. You can go to an island in the Maldives, many islands in the Maldives, and you can walk around the island barefooted in 15 minutes.
Wow.
And I was very lucky to have, I actually made the effort to go to the Maldives for my 50th. And we chose an island which didn't even have a swimming pool. I mean, it literally had, the bungalows to stay in, and it had pretty much one restaurant, no swimming pool, and like I say, you could walk around it in 15 minutes. I got there, took my shoes off, and didn't put them on for a week.
Yeah,
it was amazing. So you go and do that because you want to experience these places in the world. Yeah. So I get that. Because really, there isn't anything else to do but actually sit on the beach when you go to the Maldives in many respects. But it's more pricey to go and do that. Yeah. But if you're within a budget and you just want to go and sit on the beach, well, we've got. I mean, I think we're spoilt with having the Mediterranean on our doorstep.
Well, we could be much closer to home if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So can you share a bit of an insight then into, I suppose, a bit of a day in the life of a travel counsellor? So what does your day-to-day look like then?
So I split that into two, really. I have I spend time working in my business, and I spend time working on my business. So working in my business is fairly straightforward. I have inquiries, I get recommendations from people that have travelled with me previously, or through people that I've met through networking and things. And what I tend to do is people will reach out to me, and the first thing I'll do is I'll always arrange a consultation with them, and that's usually face to face. So many times I'll do that on a Zoom call, arrange a time and a date, and I work on an evening as well. So because most people are at work during the day, it's the only time that really, you know, a couple or a family together is on an evening. So I'll arrange on an evening, and we'll chat for half an hour to an hour, however long it takes, and just go through what the requirements and what people are looking for. I then go away once I've done that, and I put itineraries together for those people to review. And you know, we go back and forward. Sometimes it's straight away that I find what they're looking for. Sometimes they want to tweak things, but I make sure that the holiday fits the person who wants to go away, or the people that want to go away, rather than the people actually having to fit the holiday. Now that's what you do if you want to book online. You know, there's so many options to just go, right, well, I'll take that off the shelf, but there's usually elements to that you don't really want. You know, to give an example, nobody really wants to get on a coach with 50 other people after you've flown at 11 o'clock at night or whatever and stuff, and you know, you've got to do about 17 different stops before you get to your hotel. That's something that generally happens within a package holiday, but not everybody wants that. So I work as a travel agent in terms of I can book the usual regular sort of TUI EasyJet holidays as well, but I also operate as a tour operator where I can actually get people to, you know, I'll fly them out, I'll book the flights individually, the hotels, the transfers or car hire. You don't have to go for just 7 or 14 days. You can go for the dates that you're wanting to go. And then I cover that with my own atoll license to make sure that they're fully financially protected. And if anything goes wrong at all, then, you know, they're fully secure.
Wow.
So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis in my business. When I'm working on my business, that's when I go out locally to networking events. So I go and meet other small business owners, and you know, we talk about the challenges that we have in our businesses, but also we look to see how we can support each other and help each other. And I get referrals from people like that.
Brilliant.
So that's good. And then I do other things. Sometimes I appear on podcasts.
We're lucky to have you.
and I go to wedding shows as well. So I've done a couple of wedding shows
for the honeymoons
recently.
and things like that.
And I'm just starting to write for a local magazine as well.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so Alistry Life.
Yes, I love the Alistry Life magazine.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it when that comes through the door.
Yeah. I think a lot. I think a lot of people like to look through it, but I think it's one of those things that people always keep, because if they're actually looking for something like a plumber or electrician, it's the first place to go to, isn't it? So, and I did consider actually, you know, just putting a small advert in there just to let people know that I'm here locally. But I just find that a little bit impersonal, and actually that's not my business. My business is very, very personal. So I reached out to Fiona, who's the editor of the magazine, and I said, look, I've done some travel writing before, which I have. I've been published before. And I said, you know, I'd love to write for the magazine. And so, I've started that. The first article comes out in the next edition.
Wow.
So
that's your first.
Keep an eye out for that.
So that's the first one. This will be the first one.
That's the first
Brilliant.
one. Yeah. And I try to keep it very light. And it's the first one actually is talking about cruising,
right?
And the benefits. The hidden benefits of cruising, really, to a certain degree. It's called island shopping. So
brilliant!
Yeah,
so the first one's going to be in the next magazine that we get. Then brilliant.
Yeah.
So watch this space for that. We've actually had another Alistry Life writer on the podcast who is a personal stylist, and she also writes for Alistry Life.
Oh right, okay.
So yeah, brilliant.
I think I've seen her. She's a double spread, I think.
Anna Gadsby, yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, I love that. So. Going back to the travel side of things, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but the landscape of travel and booking holidays has changed from way back when.
Yeah.
how does that impact on local travel counsellors like yourself?
Well, I think the impact has happened many years ago, obviously, when the internet really took off. Travel to a certain degree, or certainly high street travel agencies were the big losers, because all of a sudden, you used to go and sit in an office and it was a very small little screen and you used to dial into the tour operators, and you had to go to a travel agent before the internet. Obviously, then when the internet came out, all of a sudden it was in front of people, and a lot of people do choose to book online, and that's absolutely fine. And and I still support people with those different types of packages as well.
Yeah.
But I think there was an excitement behind that, because the control was in your hands. But the problem is that you still, for the people that actually, and travel agencies closed all over the place, and some are still going, but you don't see anywhere near as many high street travel agencies as you used to do. But for a lot of people, there was a gap, and the gap was, first of all, knowledge, because you can go down the local pub and everybody will tell you about their favourite place to go, but it's their favourite place because it suits them. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to suit you.
Yeah.
So there was a massive knowledge gap there, which still needed filling. So at that particular time, travel counsellors, I think, started in 1994. So they saw that a lot of the advice within the industry was going to disappear with the closures. So that's where home working actually ends. So they started a franchise,
right?
And they've been going for 30 years now and stuff. And it's very popular. Yeah. But it just means that you can offer a more personal service.
Yeah.
There isn't anything wrong with booking online, but there are pitfalls. I've spoken to many people who said, well, in fact, I was actually playing golf with somebody last night, and he said, I booked this holiday, he said, and then I spent 9 months worrying about it because I had no idea who this company was. And so there's an element of fear about what what is the quality of the trip going to be and things like that.
Yeah.
I work with, literally I have access to, hundreds and thousands of suppliers around the world. I don't just work with tour operations. I actually work with what we call DMCs, they're destination management companies. These are people who are actually based on the ground.
Right.
So I've got an inquiry at the moment for a honeymoon couple, and they want to go to Madagascar. Well, the people that I'm actually dealing with are actually based in Madagascar.
Right.
They know the place inside out.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that level of support from, something
booking
that
it yourself
you're just
on the
booking
internet.
on that, and you don't know where to do it. And actually, if you can search and you can find it, but where is the background checks to make sure that actually who you're booking with? Yeah,
especially now, when technology and stuff is driving forward so fast, but then so is also like scammers, and people are getting more afraid now to do stuff online because the whole scamming thing is just coming far and really often, and the way that people are scamming is getting so intelligent. I find that actually people are now starting to become more worried about shopping online, buying things online. Like your friend said, I booked this holiday, I spent 9 months worrying, is it actually going to be here when I get here? Like, is this real? So actually I'm wondering if we're turning a corner whereby people are actually now wanting more reassurance and choosing to maybe go with travel agents now, travel counsellors, go back to travel agents, because it's quite frightening now, the world of being online.
Yeah, the thing is that a lot of the service that we offer is, in many ways, is hidden because it's there when it doesn't quite go right. So, I'll give you a couple of instances. It was only sort of 2 weeks ago that all the lights went out in Spain and Portugal.
Yeah.
In this day and age, that's just like, it's unfathomable. How can that happen?
Yeah.
But I know a travel counsellor who's a good friend of mine, and she had a client that was actually stranded in. They were literally about to fly back from Faro in the Algarve, and everything went off. And it's interesting. Airports don't have a lot of windows, to be honest. You've got them looking out to the runway, but actually if you're in the other areas, I mean, it just went dark. I think the generator kicked in and the emergency lighting, and that was it. Everything went down.
Yeah.
Well, because we were aware of it, and we have a duty office in our head office at the franchise, we were working behind the scenes with customers to make sure that actually we were arranging ways for them to get back, hotels that they can go back and check into, so they can go and just stay over for the night because the flights weren't going, until we had more information. If you book with a travel counsellor, you've got that in the background.
Yeah.
If you book on your own, good luck with that chatbot.
Yeah,
I think it's
like you are the background. If you do it on your own. Yeah.
And then obviously the other example was COVID, and obviously a lot of holidays were cancelled, but all holidays were cancelled for a period of time, and it's really proud to say that we actually got a very strong recommendation from Money Supermarket. Sorry, not Money Supermarket. The money saving expert.
Oh yeah, Martin Lewis. Yeah. Love him.
They gave strong recommendations to us because we financially protect all our clients' money in a client fund. So a client fund is very similar to when you buy a house. When you're buying a house, you send the money over to the solicitor. We don't put it into his bank account. You put it into a client fund, so your money's protected, and that's how we protect our clients' money as well. And so we got refunds back to our customers very, very quickly, and we got things. So we did very well from that. And it showed that having somebody in the background that you can speak to, that and is there locally as well, they can help out.
And there's a lot to be said for confidence and reassurance, and that's what people get booking through someone like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, it's hard to quantify that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you are clearly very well travelled. We're getting that vibe that you're very well travelled. Just tell us a couple of the places that stand out for you as the must-see for you, in your opinion.
It is really tough because there's so many different places. I think if you've got the energy, and you really want to do something where you're going to a country which is unbelievably spectacular, you can be skiing on the slopes in the morning, and you can be on the beach in the afternoon, and you can do whitewater rafting and bungee jumping and God knows whatever other activities. You can walk through some of the most amazing scenery, then go to New Zealand. But I think if you go to New Zealand, you need to do at least 3 weeks.
Wow.
You've got to go and do that. New Zealand is a spectacular place, and incredibly friendly. Wow. So I would say that if you were looking for something maybe in, say, the Indian Ocean area, then I would say, I mean, Maldives is beautiful, but Sri Lanka becoming very, very popular now.
Right.
And again, that has that sort of combination. You can spend some time on the beach, but you can maybe go up into sort of the hill town city of Kandy, which actually is the home city of my tutor. When I did my diploma all those years ago.
Wow.
And he always told me about it, and I went there, and that is absolutely spectacular. You can sort of stay up in the hills, and I remember coming out onto my balcony the morning that I stayed overnight there, and I was looking down into the town of Kandy, and I couldn't quite see it because I was above the clouds.
Right.
So I was looking down through the clouds into just a spectacular place to go to.
Wow.
So I would say that.
And I would imagine, like Sri Lanka, for example, more to do than maybe Maldives, more to explore.
Yeah.
Culturally, more to soak in, maybe, than the Maldives.
Yeah. And again, it comes back to the sort of what you're looking for. I mean, have access to, what we call fly and flop. You fly there, you flop on a sunbed, and then you go home again. But we also work with sort of adventure companies that will put you on, a holiday trip that will take you all over the place, and you won't necessarily stay in 5-star hotels. You'll stay in, local sort of places, small B&Bs or, out in rainforests and things like that.
A bit more like race around the world vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lot more.
But with a lot of protection behind that as well, But you kind of feel like you're exploring a country, but you know that you can't see it, but you're wrapped in cotton wool.
Yeah, you've still got the safety around and reassurance. Yeah.
But then, one of the things that you can do in Sri Lanka is they've got a wonderful train journey that you can do in Sri Lanka as well.
Right.
And train journeys are becoming very, very popular now. You can do them. I'm working on a quote at the moment for somebody who wants to go to Japan for 10 nights. They want to go to Hong Kong, then to Japan. And they're doing bullet trains wherever they want because they want that experience.
Wow.
Maybe because we're British, we want to see how rail works.
Yeah. Efficient. How efficient rail works.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can get a seat, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
What about... So they are some amazing recommendations that obviously you've visited. What about if someone was thinking much more closer to home, so within, say, 3 or 4 hours?
Well, you can't beat Skeggy, can you, really? It was sadly voted the worst.
Just can't guarantee the weather, though. That's the only thing.
I think it was voted the worst beach resort in the UK as well, wasn't it? But, all joking aside, I do stuff in the UK. I love places like Whitby. I mean, I just absolutely, it's tremendous, and Cornwall is gorgeous as well. But I think you're probably more alluding to the fact that, if we're going to the Mediterranean, where would we go? I like to sort of point out places that people might not have actually really thought about before. I lived in Spain for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's where I met my wife, actually. I'm actually from Yorkshire originally, and so is my wife. I had to fly off to Spain to find...
To meet her.
Find another Yorkshire girl. And both my boys were born in Spain as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I used to live in a place which isn't as popular as the sort of Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol, but it's called Mojaca in Almeria.
Right.
And it was actually founded really as a holiday destination by, I don't know if you remember the company Horizon, who were based out of Birmingham. So when I lived there, I used to hear a lot of Brummie accents and things, and it's still very, very popular with the Midlands crowd.
Right.
But it's a very... it's kind of got a real sort of bohemian feel. There's the Britishness about it as well, but a very Spanish feel as well. And they have a little sort of the town of Mojaca is sort of nestled up in the hills.
Yeah.
And it's what you would imagine an old Spanish town to look like.
Yeah.
I would imagine for those people, a lot of people have been to Mijas in the Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
Or this is sort of the hidden Mijas, really. So that's great. In terms of the Mediterranean, do you know, I would advise, if you've never tried it, because some people are on the borderline of talking about things like cruises. It's something I'd like to do, but I don't know if I really am going to like it.
Yeah.
I get that an absolute a lot, and I would say that if you're thinking, well, I really want to go to Greece, but I actually quite like the idea of Croatia, but maybe Italy as well, and you're not quite sure what you want to do, then jump on a cruise. Go out from, say, Barcelona or out from Venice and go and actually see these differences. Now, we did this with the kids when they were probably around the age of sort of 6 and 7. And we had such a wonderful time, but we stopped off in Mykonos and we loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I suppose, to be honest with you, I'm advising this, but it probably ended up costing you more money because a year later we were in Mykonos for a week, so we had to book that. But it did give us a real nice taste of different destinations, and you go, well, I enjoyed that for the day.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I'd want to come here for a week.
Yeah.
But
then again,
there'd be
I
other
love
places.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Mykonos is just, the popularity as just seems to have grown so much these past few years. I don't know if it's like a social media thing and we see people going out there and then we're like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. I didn't know. But Mykonos seems to be just one of those places that's like, and Croatia.
It's very trendy, and it's expensive. I would recommend, if you're going to Mykonos, I mean, some people have to go on the school holidays, they're school teachers or they've got children or whatever, but if you don't have those constraints, then I would certainly recommend going to Mykonos maybe sort of, late May, June, or sort of, maybe September time as well.
Not
but
in
I
the
would
height of
I'd
season.
recommend that for anywhere in Greece. It's not as crowded, and you generally get good weather depending on obviously whereabouts in Greece you are. There's a big difference in weather patterns between Crete in the south and Corfu in the north. So,
It's funny though what you said about cruises, because I've never tried a cruise. And I've like floated with the idea before, excuse the pun, but I've thought about the idea before. And then I've thought, I love that. I love the idea of, like you said, almost island hopping and trying different things all in like the space of a week or 10 days or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I can't get my head around is like being on the ship and looking out and just seeing nothing but sea. And I think I'm just not sure if I'd feel a bit, I'm not sure if I'd like it. Maybe a bit like, I cannot get off this boat. Like,
Right,
that feeling?
Yeah.
Like, I can't get off. I can't get out. I am here. I suppose trapped, maybe. Although I know that the ships are gigantic and it takes like forever to walk around the ship and stuff like that. But I just don't know if I personally could look out and see nothing but sea and be okay with that.
I think it's, a lot of the places where you go cruising, the ships move around the world, so they kind of follow the weather to a certain degree. So usually I can imagine, if you're catching a ferry from, say, Portsmouth or Southampton down to, Santander or Bilbao, and you're going across the Bay of Biscay and it's November, I can see why you would worry about wanting to get off the ship, or will we be able to get off the ship? And trust me, I have done that. My dad took me on that journey when I was about 13 years of age, and I've never experienced anything like it. The thing is that generally when you're sort of cruising around the Caribbean or you're cruising through the Med, most of the time you're actually sailing along on this huge ship on what is essentially a mill pond. You don't get much waves, so you tend to find that actually looking out to sea and just that vastness, there's a real escapism.
That's like the vastness. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. The only reassurance I could give you is that most of these ships have helipads, so you can get off. Like if there was something seriously wrong.
You've just got a couple of grand for a helicopter ticket, then that's fine.
I love the days at sea, actually. Most of the time you are getting off, because obviously the whole idea of a cruise is that you do go to lots of different destinations.
Yeah, which
and you
I
get
love
off
that.
And
I
you can
like
do
that.
destinations. I would say if you were looking for a negative from me for cruising, which there aren't many, because you can be as active or as quiet and peaceful as you like on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
They tend to design them now that all the areas for the kids are in one area.
Yeah.
And a lot of the cruise ships actually have, someone like Royal Caribbean would have like a solarium area which is adults only, so you can you can sort of sit and relax without any children being around.
Yeah.
But I would say that the one thing, and this is my wife's bugbear with cruising, is that when she gets off, I remember we got off in Rhodes once. We went to a lovely beach, just got a taxi, went to a beach, and we had to get back on board by a certain time. And she was like, I want to stay longer. And that's the only downside, is that you, when you do find a place that you love, you don't want to leave.
Yes.
But that's what happens when you start looking at where you want to stay and where you don't want to stay, because you go, well, let's just come back.
Yeah, I love that place. I'm going to go back. Yeah,
exactly.
So obviously your passion for travel is really coming through, and your passion for what you do, your business and the travel counsellor and arranging these amazing holidays for people is really kind of shining through. Do you have, thinking about the business side of things now, working for yourself, do you have challenges to overcome in terms of that? Does it get tough at times?
Yeah, not really. I love what I do.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Yeah, and I quite like it when people, some people will come to me and they've just got no idea what they want.
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, a lot of people do come to me because of that. Because they've got an idea. And it might be a case of, we'd love to go here, but is that possible with the budget that we've got?
Yeah.
And, so it's sort of trying to marry those together. I'm trying to think of this. I mean, obviously I work on my own, but I do have the support of other travel counsellors around me. We don't work in competition with each other.
No.
We actually have our own community because we're all sort of dotted over the UK and all over the world.
Yeah.
We've got travel counsellors in Australia and New Zealand and South Africa.
Yeah.
We're all over. So, I struggle to really find a downside to it because I joined travel counsellors. I set up because I wanted to work for myself.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to look after people and their holidays the way I would look after my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I do struggle to find anything that's actually quite negative about what I do.
Or challenging, which is great.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you're doing what you love, which is amazing, and what you're obviously very good at.
Okay, the one challenge is...
We've found one.
The one challenge is airlines don't release their flights until about 11 to 12 months out.
Right.
Okay, so it's what we call ODR, which is out of date range. But we have ways of getting round that. But sometimes that can be a challenge.
Yeah.
So particularly if I'm dealing with people that are looking for a honeymoon or want to get married abroad, they're thinking about this well in advance and they want to get it underway.
Yeah.
But, I've got an inquiry at the moment that wants to go away in August 2027. We're 2.25 years away from that.
Yeah.
So I have to put a lot of extra work into that. The one thing I would say is that I don't sit at home like you would when you're looking for a holiday online. There's a lot more work that goes into it than that because, I'm putting different elements together. I have access to suppliers and management companies overseas and things that you would never have heard of because of the fact they don't deal direct with the public.
No.
And a lot of the very top quality providers only operate business to business.
Yeah.
They don't do B2C.
Yeah. Fantastic. I know what you mean about people booking further in advance though, because I quite like doing that, not only because it gives you that something to look forward to, but if you're planning something a bit, special or whatever, it's nice to have that length of time to pay for it as well and to keep chipping away at it. I mean, with all the will in the world, you can be like, oh, well, I'll just put it into my savings every month. But I don't anyway. Yeah. So being able to book further in advance is really helpful for a lot of people, me included. So I can imagine it is quite challenging when airlines, you can't get further than like a year.
Yeah. But as I say, there are ways around for doing that because we work very closely with the airlines and things like that stuff. But if you wanted to go online and try and book, a flight now in 2 years' time, you wouldn't be able to do that. You just can't. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Where we do have ways because we work within the industry itself. Yeah.
Fantastic. So another USP there. So for anyone listening to this thinking I could do with a bit of help or a bit of support with something that I'm thinking about doing travel-wise, how is it best for people to get in touch with you and find out a little bit more about what you can do for them?
They can just give me a call or they can send me an email. As I say, I make it very personal. So what I will always do is, whether they reach out to me by text message or give me a call or email, I'll always arrange straight away. And people tell me what they're looking for to start with, but I'll always arrange a phone call to meet with them. And as I say, I can do that as a video call. But what I do in the local area is, some people just like to feel a little bit more comfortable about that they're in their own home, and they've got a coffee and they can chat. I do home visits as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. So, or if they want somewhere neutral, I can meet them in a local cafe or whatever stuff down in Park Farm or whatever.
Brilliant.
I'm
that's nice.
Pretty accessible. Yeah.
So how do they reach you initially? Have you got an Instagram page, Facebook, or do you want to just tell us what your email address is? How do you want to?
Yeah, you can find me. You can find me on Facebook, Craig Stephenson TC, which stands for Travel Counsellors, and Instagram as well. I'm also on LinkedIn, and but my email address is craig.stevenson, that's with a PH, at travelcounsellors.com. Or very easily, they can just ring me on 01332 438 717. There you go. I had to really think about that then.
Fantastic. And we'll look out for you in the Alistry Life magazine as well.
Yeah, well, my details will also be in there as well. Yeah,
which is going to be good, because that reaches a lot of people.
Yeah.
So last question, really. Where are you going away next?
Well, interestingly enough, I've actually worked in the golf travel industry quite a bit as well previously, and from time to time I consult within that actual industry, and they have a convention that's happening next week in Gran Canaria. So I'm flying out to Gran Canaria on Sunday.
Wow!
Which is great. And then my next actual trip away, where I'm going and relaxing, is actually in September. I'm going to work very hard this year. We have just come back from a cruise, to be fair. So, but I'm going out to Crete. And there's a nice little story behind this, because when I went over to Crete as a holiday rep, I joined a wonderful team of people. And I was 21 at this time. And as we said, there was no Facebook, there's no internet.
Yeah.
And back in those days, at the end of the season, you all wrote your name and address down on a piece of paper. And it got lost somewhere. And so you lost contact with everyone.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely, through Facebook, we kind of all found each other, and we kept sort of messaging. Anyway, 30 years ago it's 32 years ago this year, this September, but 2 years ago I managed to get everybody together, and we all went as a meet-up for 30 years in Manchester, and we had such a great time in the Greek restaurant. We all agreed, after a couple of wines, that we would actually go out to Crete to just relive it. So we did that last September, and we had such a great time. We're going again this year as well. So
all the OG travel reps from back in the day, you've all come back together.
Yeah.
That's it. How many of you?
There was 8 of us that went last year.
Oh.
Yeah, and we had such a wonderful time, and we had one night in Malia and had a bit of a blowout, and then we actually then went up into the hills in Crete, and we sort of stayed, and it's again, that's that contrast of holidays, because as much as I enjoyed being back in Malia where we worked, being up in the hills in a very, very small village with a taverna that was still open and serving the locals. I think that the 8 of us sat there and drank and ate for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I think it came to about 25 euros each. It was ridiculously cheap.
That's crazy.
So those places still exist.
Yeah.
You've just got to go and look for them.
Because you're where the locals are then, not where the tourists are.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh. So you managed one night in Malia. I mean, I'm assuming, and I probably shouldn't assume, but I guess there's like an age cap for Malia.
Do you know, it's changed. I mean, I actually thought when I go back, I'm not going to enjoy it here, because, it's just not the same, and, things move on. But back in the 90s, it was all about sort of Club 1830 and all this sort of big boozing. I think the youth of today are very different. You know, they're very much into their fitness and they're very much into their Instagram posts and things like that and stuff. So there's still that bar element, there's still that clubbing element there, but it's a little bit more dumbed down and it's a little bit more respectful now, I think.
Right.
But I would actually say Malia is actually a really great place to go for all different types of people, because you can very easily go into Malia and stay in the old town, and it's wonderful in there.
Yeah, and you wouldn't necessarily have to be like around, you know, all the young kids having the time of their life. You could stay away from that if you wanted to. All the young kids, or you could join them if you wanted to. Or
the mid 50-year-olds that have been that are meeting up for 30 years. I think we were probably a bit louder and a bit noisier than what. Well, yeah,
they do say that. We can show them how it's done. I remember my friend. Years ago, because I actually started off as a travel agent, and a friend who I work with, she went on to do some repping. I think she did a season or two, and I don't know if it was Malia actually, but it was so funny. She came back, she was broken.
Yeah.
She'd lost so much weight, which she didn't need to anyway, but just because the wages weren't great. So, you know, she was spending her money on partying rather than like nutritious food and stuff. But she had the time of her life.
Oh, yeah.
She literally loved every minute. I'll never forget it. She loved it and was good at it as well. It's just like one of those experiences, isn't it?
It is. And I think, you know, if anybody ever came to me and said, I'm thinking about being a holiday rep, I couldn't bring myself to talk them out of it.
No.
I think it's a real life experience.
Yeah.
I think it's very different now.
Yeah.
And certainly having lived through it in the 90s, which I think, to be honest with you, was a real heyday. The 80s and 90s were a real heyday if you wanted to go and be a holiday rep, because you were very much left to your own devices in many ways, and you had to be very, very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
With the technology that we've got now, it's a little bit more sort of connected and things.
Yeah.
And rightly so, you know, health and safety. I think it existed in the 80s and 90s, but I don't remember seeing much of it.
Yeah, not sure. But, definitely not in the apartment she was living in. So, last question from me then. So, the good, the bad and the ugly. This is a bit of a section we do whereby you tell us something that's happened to you personally or professionally in the last, you know, recently, that might fall under the category of good, bad or ugly.
Now, you did pre-warn me about this, and I was trying to think, and I thought, I can't really think of it. And then it dawned on me that actually there's something that's happened, and it happens on a regular basis, to be honest with you, which is both good, bad and ugly.
Oh,
yeah.
We've not had this before.
Yeah, and that's my golf swing. I'm an avid golfer. And I play locally. But I've never ever. I love the sport. I played it as a junior, and I've played it on and off right the way through my life. And I'm lucky to be a member of a club now. But I've never ever played any sort of sport where you can be brilliant at it one week and go back the next week and be appalling, and look like you've never ever played the game before in your life. And I think that's what maybe just keeps me coming back, because you only need to hit one decent shot, and all of a sudden you think you're Rory McIlroy, and quite clearly you're not.
So that definitely falls under good, bad, and the ugly. And I do know what you mean, because my husband loves golf.
Right.
He's just been to Portugal and came back when there was that blackout.
Yeah.
And like, every day, each day that he was there, he played a different course each day. And like one day he was like absolutely buzzing, you know, it was brilliant. The next day he's like, I hate this game.
Yeah.
Like, I played so bad today, you know. And it's like, like how is that? You know, no matter how many years he spends refining the game, it's like, it seems to be luck of the draw. You either go out and you're going to be great, or you go out and you're going to be rubbish.
Yeah. Sometimes you just don't get the look of the green.
No.
Excuse the pun, but it's a frustrating game. But it's got that. there's something about that sport that just, you get hooked with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, everybody has that, you know, people are very avid about football and rugby and things. And, you know, I love multiple sports. You know, if it's on the TV, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I actually particularly like watching tennis. I think that's such a great sport to watch. And I love watching rugby, but I prefer to watch rugby live rather than on the TV.
Yeah.
In the same way, I enjoy watching football live on the TV rather than actually being at the game.
Vice versa.
It's kind of a strange one.
Yeah.
But golf, I love it in all its form. I watch it on the TV. I'll play it. I'll walk down the street and do phantom swings. I mean, what am I doing? You know, people must think I'm weird. You know, but
just trying to improve that swing.
Yeah, it comes very second. Travel is my passion, and golf is right up. Just up behind.
Yeah.
It.
So when you combine the two, I bet it's a blast.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then lastly, Craig, ask me anything. So this is the part where we kind of flip and reverse things, and you get to ask me anything.
So what I want to know from you is, what made you decide to do a podcast? You know, that's something that I'm really intrigued. You know, do you wake up one morning and go, right, I'm going to get the setup and I'm going to invite random people into my home?
Yeah, basically.
and get them to talk into a microphone.
Yeah, basically, that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I wake up most mornings and have really random ideas, so you know that's nothing new. But yeah, I love podcasts myself and watch a lot of podcasts or listen to a lot of podcasts, whichever one. And I just thought I'd love to give this a go myself. I'd love to kind of do my own podcast. So it started there. Then it turned to, well, if I was going to do it then, what would I do it on? Yeah. Would I talk about kind of my day job and create awareness a little bit about that? And I kind of come and go with a few ideas. And then I was literally waiting to pick my son up from college, and it just came to me. And I tell you what came to me. It was thinking about the Alice G Life magazine.
All right.
But bringing that kind of thing to life.
Yeah.
So not only can you read about all the amazing things we've got in our local area through the Alice G Life magazine or whatever, I thought, how amazing would it be not to only like have those people on talking about their business and what they do, but a chance for us to actually get to meet the people behind the business.
Yeah.
Like, who are they? What do they do? Like, as well as what they do in business, what do they like to do and stuff like that? So I thought, well, that could be a good idea. So I kind of sat with that for a bit, and then I thought, I was sort of going on about it for a while to Stu, and I was like, I've either got to do it or not, because I just keep coming and going. So basically, I just literally one morning put a message together and sent it out to quite a few local businesses just to see if I'd get any interest. Yeah. And that would help me know if there's room for it or not. And everyone came back and they were like, absolutely. We'd love to come on. Yeah. Not heard anything like that before. Do it. So I was like, oh God, I suppose I better then. So yeah, went online, ordered the kit, and here I am.
And how long have you been doing it for now?
So I've been doing it for, I think I started like February time.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So this year.
Yeah, right, okay.
So I've got about, they've been coming out every fortnight, and I've got quite a few in the bank, pre-recorded, ready to go. So I just release one every 2 weeks. And yeah, go from there.
Fantastic.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
That's how it was born. Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast. It's been great to get to know you and what you do. And I'm now like, my head is whirring with holiday ideas, like where can I go, what can I do?
Well, you know who to
Sri
speak
Lanka
to now.
Sounds great, and now I know who to speak to bring it all to life. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And just like
cool.
that.
Wow. How long?